How does an organization put hands and feet to achieve its long-term vision? Though competency and skills may help, but the real answer in achieving long-term sustainability is in culture. Not just any culture, but two types of culture need to be kept at the forefront. Number one is the culture of engagement, and number two is the culture of accountability. So if an organization envelops its long-term vision and any strategic plan with the culture of engagement and accountability, then you have sustainable high performance. First, let's talk about the culture of engagement. The first component for creating a culture of engagement excellence is coaching. Not just coaching, but specifically strengths-based coaching, because an employee who have the opportunity to do what he or she does best every day is 6 times more engaged, 6 times more productive. And also within this coaching framework, we need a way to develop great managers who can fulfill their responsibility in 4 vital roles, because without having great managers who can fulfill their responsibility in these 4 vital roles, any long-term vision is going to crumble. The first vital role of a great manager is that a great manager must need to know how to identify talents, because no individual is the same, and you need to recognize every employee as a unique individual with unique contributing talents to the long-term vision. Secondly, every employee wants to do a good job. At least most employees want to do a good job. But how can all the goodness be aligned to the long-term vision if the manager do not know how to set clear expectations? So that's vital role number 2. Vital role number 3 is a great manager needs to know how to motivate, because it's about capturing the hearts and minds of employees. And finally, vital role number 4 in being able to develop employees to achieve their higher aspirations and career goals. So these are the 4 vital roles that need to be part of this coaching framework. The next challenge then is one of consolidation. How can we tell that great managers are actually doing a great job that impact the employees in terms of coaching them for their strengths and helping them to find the right job fit? You do this through an employee engagement assessment or survey, not just any normal employee engagement. In this respect, we highly recommend the Gallup Q12 employee engagement, because the Gallup's Q12 employee engagement is tied into the 4 vital roles of the manager, and it gives a leading indicator to the manager as to the pulse of the team morale and team engagement status, and what the manager can do to improve the overall culture of engagement as it links back to the 4 vital roles. A lot of the engagement survey that is out there produces a report that gives you a snapshot, but the linkages back to the competency of the manager is lacking. So in this engagement survey by Gallup Q12, it has a direct implication back to the manager, so that the survey is more than just a survey. It is tied back to the vital role of the manager in maintaining a culture of engagement. According to Gallup, the top 2 reasons why employees become disengaged and eventually leave the organization. Number 1 is their relationship with their immediate supervisor. So if we have a way to consolidate engagement input that is tied back to the vital role of the great manager in helping the great manager to be a great coach, we would have addressed factor number 1. And secondly, if the coaching is based on strengths, helping employees to do what they do best every day and creating the environment for them to do so, then we are creating right job fit, which addresses factor number 2. As you can see here, engagement is a bottoms-up approach. Now, the other side of the coin is that we need a framework by which to develop a culture of accountability, and this is a top-down approach. So the first framework, the first step to take is a step of leadership clarity. When we talk about clarity, it is the ability to translate the long-term vision into the new results that we want to see, the new actions that we want to see, and more importantly, what are the new cultural beliefs and the new employee experiences that we want to create. Most organizations are very good at defining results and action plan, but not going deep enough to explore the belief and the experience that is holding them back from achieving the long-term vision. So there needs to be a lot of clarity, not just in terms of the results, but what are the new belief and experience that we need to intentionally design in order to move the organization forward. This cannot be left to chance. Once the clarity has been set by the leadership value, the next step is a personal one. It's the step of personal accountability. Because as an organization grows, inevitably you have issues of silo, behavior, mentality of territorialism, and so on. So the answer is to be able to inculcate a sense of personal accountability. And there are 4 steps to take in order for us to act above the line and not below the line in playing the blame game. Meaning, one of the main derailers of achieving long-term vision is a culture of blame. Now, how do you overcome a culture of blame? You need to replace that with a culture of personal accountability. And there are 4 steps to do that. Every employee need to take on the personal responsibility to see it, to own it, to solve it, and to do it. These 4 steps are steps of courage that a person need to take, to be courageous enough to see the situation as it is and to be humble to admit mistakes when that happens. The courage to put up the hand and to own their part of the mistake and to own their part of the responsibility, the courage to solve it and to think innovatively, and the courage to do it consistently. Let's face it, despite clarity and personal courage, there will be moments of non-performance. Now, when non-performance happen, we need a framework or a guideline to help us to confront, a framework to help us in holding other people accountable, but in a positive and principled way. Because when there is non-performance and we don't do anything about it, we are not implementing a culture of accountability, we are implementing a culture of compromise and apathy, and that would definitely derail any long-term vision or strategic plan. We need a way to hold other people accountable in a positive, principled way. And within this context, we need to help our managers to have accountability conversations. And this is a skill that can be learned and must be learned. Finally, there are 2 elements that hold this entire roadmap together. One, you need to have a consistency manager. A consistency manager that is internal and a consistency manager that is external, that comes in and to help the organization to journey through this whole process, which is more than just a composite of programs, but really it is a journey of creating the right milestone and experience and belief towards that long-term vision. So factor number 1, we need to appoint consistency managers, both internally and externally. Secondly, we need a cultural DNA handbook. And this cultural DNA handbook is going to document down the result of the discussion, the result of the training, the result of the facilitation, the result of the deliberation. And this cultural DNA will become the compass that will guide all follow-on learning programs and developmental efforts. And in this way, we have a tight framework to keep the whole organization in check so that we can achieve the long-term vision in a more sustainable, meaningful manner that will capture the hearts and minds of every employee. How? by focusing on the culture of engagement and accountability. So this is the strategy to make the vision work. Having the vision is the first step. Engagement and accountability is that framework to help us reach that vision in a way that is accelerated, meaningful, and significant.